Welcome to another edition of Down the Road. Lots to cover today. You know, we're going to talk about generations. Abby Miller, if you're not familiar with that name, Abby Miller is the producer of my radio show, but she's fresh out of college. We're going to get a chance to visit with her, an individual that went through NDSU and has her whole life in front of her. Because one of the things, and we're going to visit a little bit more about this on Monday, is the fact that less people are going to college. And so I want to find out what her and her circle of friends thinks about all that. Also, Jeff Kolpak's going to join us today. Jeff is an expert when it comes to golf. He may not be an expert when it comes to playing golf, but he's an expert when it comes to golf. And Tom Hoagie is doing pretty doggone well at the PGA. We'll visit about that. But Gene LaDoucer is an expert when it comes to travel, when it comes to what's going on. In fact, he's the North Dakota director of AAA. Let's bring him in. Gene, good to have you coming down the road with us.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
This is just going to shock you, Gene, but I just wanted to talk about gas prices. Well, more than gas prices, but what are you seeing locally? What are you seeing nationwide?
Well, we're seeing gasoline prices sharply higher than we were paying this time last year. And right now, the North Dakota average is $4.23. The national average is about $4.55. Both are, about $1.20 or so higher than this time last year. And it looks like they'll probably continue to move higher for the foreseeable future.
So what are you seeing change? Are you seeing less travel? Before you came on air, I was talking to you about how I drive around the state in a motorhome. Obviously, I don't get great mileage with that. And every time I drive down the interstate, I see more and more campers. Are people going to be hitting the trail with those and taking vacations this summer?
Yeah, people are absolutely taking their vacations, at least for the Memorial Day holiday. We're seeing strong numbers. More than 39 million Americans are expected to travel during the holiday, which puts us in line with numbers we saw back in 2019. So people are anxious to get out. They're feeling better about traveling now that COVID is somewhat controlled. They feel more comfortable. They're going to get out there and spend some time with family and friends. The one thing we are seeing is some people are taking a look at their budgets, maybe cutting down the number of days they're traveling, maybe going camping in that camper instead of staying at a resort, those types of things. So there are adjustments being made, but they still are traveling despite the high gasoline prices.
So when gas prices hit this high, does it change what people do in terms of work? There's a lot of people that commute to work. Does it make them look for jobs closer to home? I mean, what effect does it have on that?
Well, people start looking at the vehicles they're driving, maybe choosing a smaller vehicle or driving, the smaller vehicle that they have in the family instead of the big SUV or the truck. They'll start consolidating trips as much as possible, and then they'll start actually looking, closer at the gasoline prices that they're paying. When gasoline is down around $3 a gallon, they'll stop anywhere and fill up. But now that's over $4 a gallon, they're going to be finding a way to save that 5 or 10 cents a gallon.
Are you seeing any of the travel plazas or any place where they're using the high gas prices as an enticement, where there's actually competition? Because that's always an argument here in North Dakota, that people don't compete when it comes to gas prices. They stay about the same. I don't know. What are you seeing out there?
Well, retailers really hate with these high gasoline prices also, because people start to shop differently when they have to pay these high gasoline prices. Most of your retail gasoline stations make their biggest profit on the items they sell inside the store or on the car wash. So if people are paying so much at the pump, they're not likely to go inside and buy those high profit items. Plus, the credit card processing fees are so much higher when you're paying over $4 a gallon. So, the retailers really hate this too, and they try to keep their gasoline prices as low as possible to entice people to continue to buy those high margin items inside the store. So there is, the competition really gets a little bit heated at this point in the game.
What about renewable fuels? It seems to me that there's an opportunity here. They always said that the price per barrel goes up, the use of ethanol goes up. What are you seeing out there?
Yeah, there is a potential of mixing more ethanol in fuel to help bring the price down a little bit. Most vehicles built after about 2000 can burn E15, although that is not the case in all cases. So we recommend people read their owner's manual to be sure that they can burn higher levels of ethanol. Then, of course, if you have a flex fuel vehicle, you can save a little bit by burning E85 in your car or truck.
You know, the one thing that people also worry about is the cost to deliver. I was visiting with someone last night that had containers that had made their way to Kansas City, and he had to get those up to North Dakota. He had, I think, 4 containers. How much is it adding to business that way, Gene?
You know, I really don't know. I don't follow that closely, but obviously the delivery of the fuel to the retailers is one of the cost items that need to be considered. And, you know, if you look at the current or what we have been paying for gasoline futures, which have been near $4 a gallon here this past week, you add on that transportation cost, you add on the overhead costs, you add on taxes, you add on profit, it kind of gives you an idea of where gasoline prices may be headed, because all of that on top of the price of gasoline at the wholesale level is about 65 to 75 cents a gallon.
Well, what about, and I realize these are a lot of whatabouts, Gene, but what about the fact on the overall economy? Because one of the indicators, everybody's talking about inflation. Everybody from all sides of the political aisles, all different age groups, they're all talking about inflation. And yet their leading indicator is fuel, is gas prices. Are gas prices that big of a factor in the economy overall when it comes to inflation?
You know, if you look back, probably 7 years ago, we were historically well above $3 a gallon for many years. We were, you know, the typical gas cost was in about $3.50 annually. After about 2015 or so, we started going below $3 a gallon, and we spent 7 years below $3 a gallon. And now we're back up about $4 a gallon. So people, despite, you know, the fact that everything else is going on, they feel that, you know, they've adjusted their family budgets based on what they had historically been paying for gasoline. And for the past 7 years, it's been under $3 a gallon. So that extra dollar a gallon is really impacting people's budgets at this time, as well as overall inflation. So we expect to see some change in driving behavior. And when that occurs, when people start using less gasoline, that will allow the supply to catch up with the demand, and then prices should stabilize and at some point start to move lower again.
So when you look at past, you know, has the oil industry been at record profits when fuel was at 360, 370? Because I remember that really well in past years. Was the oil industry itself making as much money as what it is now?
They were doing well, but not probably as well as they are now. Obviously, with gas or oil trading now at about $110 a gallon or a barrel, they can make significant profits, and we're seeing that in reports that are coming in now. And that entices them to produce more, and as they produce more, and then the price of gasoline encourages people to use less, that'll ultimately start to tip gasoline prices lower.
All right, you know, AAA, everybody counts on it. I saw you coming to the rescue many times on the interstate of stranded travelers. I think vehicles run better now than what they did before. Are you seeing less overall? Are you seeing less calls coming in saying, hey, get out here, I need you right away?
No, we're not necessarily seeing fewer calls. We're seeing somewhat different calls. We're seeing a lot of people locking their keys in the vehicles. At this time, with high gasoline prices, we'll see a lot more people calling us because they ran out of gas. And we're also seeing a lot more dead batteries than we had in the past. The mechanical issues aren't quite as high as they used to be, but people are still finding ways to get in trouble and having to give us a call.
I never can figure out why people think that by not putting gas in, somehow it's going to save them money. If they're going to go the distance, or they're going to, as somebody who drives 130 miles every day, sitting there with a quarter tank of gas, it makes no sense to not put fuel in. It doesn't. But that's an aside. Something I told my kids when they were young. You always give me time, so I want to make sure you get a chance to make sure people know about AAA. Why should they join AAA?
Well, at this time, I would recommend taking a close look at AAA for savings. Our members save on everything from fuel to hotels to shopping to dining to entertainment. And most of that will add up well beyond what you pay for a membership. Plus, you get the world-class road service with that membership. So we encourage people to look into it by looking at AAA.com. Downloading our app, or giving our agents a call at our Fargo office at 701-282-6222.
I know people that have been members all their life. They swear by it, and they never will be without it. So you do a good job, Gene. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.